Oh, well, yeah, you mentioned it right now. There were draw of Copa
Libertadores.
Libertadores. Have you watched it?
Yeah, I've seen some interesting like teams, but again, it's kind of too early. It's to even talk about Libertadores.
Yeah.
Not when the game starts to roll because there are a lot of changes happens after, especially in January and stuff like that. The players adds, players gets
Well,
drawn into Europe.
most of the problem with the South American Cup, like clubs, are that like European seasons start
Yeah.
like ends in June, and they started buying players from
Yeah.
Brazilian clubs and Argentinian clubs, and
Yes.
that's the problem actually. Like for example, even if River
Not,
Plate
not
is
not just
doing,
that. Not just that. I'd add MLS now. There are a lot of MLS
oh
team
yeah, yeah.
buys
Yeah,
South
especially
America.
from Argentina, like so many Argentinian players are going to MLS these
Yes.
days, and I think Brazil stops their players flowing to China. I don't know how, but
I
it
didn't
did
know how
actually.
that stopped, but I think it's hopefully for the good for the
Yeah, for
players.
for because
But
I
they were
was
getting some money definitely. Yeah.
yeah, I was watching, probably it was Sao Paulo's game. They were actually doing pretty well
Yeah,
in
I
June.
haven't really followed much. I think I was watching one of the game, either Flamengo. I think Flamengo looked ghost of not really
Yeah,
ghost. Really fairly ultra conservative kind of side and try to hit you on the break. That's kind of the football. Not saying I'm against it or anything. It can be effective if you really play that well. But again, coming back to the style of football, I think a good sign is Racing under Gago won against Independiente, which is very important game for them. And I think uh, Gago needs some winning. Like they're still unbeaten, and his style I kind of like the way he kind of organized this team, and the team has definitely some talent. Uh, and hope that Gago makes it big, especially in Argentine league. And Racing is a big club and big opportunity for him to do well. Um, Saying that Mauricio Pellegrino, he was the Valles coach and he got sacked. I guess there are a lot of interesting names are floating, and one of them is Martin Demichelis, who's right now in Bayern B team, I think.
yeah.
Uh, I, it would be interesting if he really takes it. Um, I think it would be there would be very good few names to take over Valles because there is a lot of talent on that team. Um,
Walter Samuel is still with the
uh,
national team, right?
yeah, there is Walt Samuel, I think Ayala, as well as
Yeah,
Aymar is part of that
yeah,
national team.
yeah. Well, Aymar, yeah, who doesn't love Aymar?
Yes,
But yeah, uh, well, that was like another interesting thing is that like I was going to bring it on because last Copa Libertadores, there were like six teams from Brazil's were in the quarterfinals, and two Brazilians team actually played the final. And well, there will be a lot of change this season, especially like clubs are in debt. Like there were talks of like selling clubs and like I don't know, going declared bankruptcy or stuff like this was going on, especially
yes,
in Brazilian
that's
football, and
that
it was
is
it
happening.
was horrible to see, especially like clubs like Santos. They don't
Yes,
actually, they are
and
not producing players like even
there
like
is some definite. I think what is happening, especially it's first of all, it's very sad to see such huge
yeah,
clubs to see in such condition. But the economic crisis in Brazilian football is nothing new, and the model seems kind of like whatever teams come up with. It's very unsustainable. I'm not claiming to be very expert on the economic side of the thing, but it's really sad to see such huge clubs. And Santos always produce talent. Santos is. arguably one of the biggest talent pool that they have produced for the world football. And yeah, but Santos, I think whatever the talent I see on their youth team and stuff like that, I think they could really bounce back
Yeah,
very soon.
that's the thing I was going to bring it on, because like summer transfer is coming in like 2 3 months, and there will be changes. Like these clubs doesn't have any choices at some, like, yeah, most of the clubs they will sell whatever they can
Yes,
so
that's
far.
true.
So
But for Santos,
there's
there
a
is
problem.
definitely another issue is that they want to go back to where they kind of belong. Fighting for the top end, and
Yeah.
not just living in the second division and stuff like that to get relegated sort of situation. So yeah, it's hard to choose. Money you need to survive, plus you need to compete as well. So
Yeah, that's one of the like, I don't know how to resolve this problem, but it's hard to see these clubs are
well,
like
let's
struggling.
let's put it this way. Even Italian league in Syria, there are a lot of clubs are going through a lot of rough kind of economic situations, and that's one of the top five European league, right? So
Yeah,
and yeah, and when we talk about South American clubs and the resources, it's even more badly handled. So and also the cycle is so poor and the resources are so marginalized and stuff like that. So it's hard for the teams.
yeah, it will be. And also there were situations last season or the season before, because there were some like really diehard fans of this club who were working for those clubs, and they were actually keeping those clubs alive, like without getting any or payment or
Yeah,
anything.
that happens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope it change actually, because six clubs like playing in the quarterfinals from one country is like, it's not that actually simple, especially like with Argentina, like neighboring country.
Well,
Mm.
yeah, that's true. And last year, I think I can reflect why you technically had Boca. Boca was really mismanaged for a long time.
Yeah,
And I think Nicolas Bertiso was doing a fantastic job, and sacking him was one of the biggest mistakes. And look at Nicolas Bertiso, how he's doing for Fiorentina. He's doing very well. Look
yeah.
at Fiorentina right now. So coming coming from point of view and having an ego. So Boca was really mishandled, and then he had a lot of
They beat
changes.
Inter, right? Just before the international break, Fiorentina.
Sorry,
Fiorentina, beat Inter, right?
I think it was draw
Just before the break,
1-1.
or no? Okay,
Yeah, but yeah, what I'm saying is they got Vlahovic sold out, and then they got Cabral like within 3 days.
three players actually.
Within 3 days, like and
Yeah.
then have Jovic. Is it Piantek? Piantek
Mm.
also got.
Yeah.
So they're you have to give credit where it's due. Bertiso is doing a very good job, and he was really sacked from current Boca management. And then coming also back to other teams such as Vélez. Vélez was not released. I mean, Marcio Pellegrino is an has done fairly okay in terms of Southampton and stuff like that, but he's very very defensive kind of coach, and which didn't really suit. I mean, he was a big name because he's coming from European leagues and coming back to
Yeah.
Vélez. But Vélez's whatever the team was, I think they could have been easily more aggressive and more attacking. Would have
Well,
suited.
if you remember, like there were talks about Southampton, like he kind of destroyed the club or something like this, like at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah, and that's a
So
similar kind of feeling was. I mean, it was all right in Alaves because I
yeah,
guess Alaves were looking for more of a hanging on there in the La Liga, but coming back to that, fellas, I think the suitability of the manager didn't really help, and Racing was going through some really really bad decisions after Diego Militao left. So yeah, I think, and also there were some Portuguese coaches were taking over in Brazil, because if you remember, some of the Brazilian teams were really managed by Brazilian coaches, and most of the Brazilian coaches were like ultra kind of defensive. Also, there were some interesting coaches went to Brazil, such as Sampaoli has had a stint in Atletico Mineiro, and um, Grêmio had a bit of success when the Horse Jesus basically went there, and then yeah, there are some interesting coaches, and talent is always there, but in terms of how you use it and how you manage it, if you think of how Dani Alves went back to the Brazilian league, and Hulk went back, Diego Costa went back, Felipe Luis went back, and those players, you might say, they're old, but look at Dani Alves, 38 years old, who went back to Barcelona and playing all right. So age matters, and age sometimes doesn't matter too, because if you have that fitness and skill, you can always excel within a team.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, Um, I was going to add one more thing. Like, do you see any clubs coming in the Libertadores
A
other
lot of
than Brazilians and
Argentines,
uh,
yeah,
Argentines? Yeah.
obviously, there are two huge Uruguayan sides, Penarol
Yeah.
and Nacional. They're always on the discussion, and you have the Universidad of Chile. Is an all right team as well. They've always been there. And others, in terms of, I didn't actually see much of how the Colombian teams and Ecuadorian teams are doing in terms of, they're all right when their home game is being played, but then can they compete against giants of Brazil or Argentina? That's a different discussion.